Hey, it's Mike with Riding in the Ozarks, and we just got back from Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue this last weekend, and Harley Davidson is back in the news, and it's not good. Let's talk about it. So obviously from the thumbnail, you know Harley Davidson has another recall on 2024 models. I say another recall on 2024 models. As far as I know, this is the first one on the 2024 models, but they've been plagued with recalls the last few years for different things. Now, this one is on 5 specific touring models, and they're all 2024 models, which seems odd that the 23.5 CVO models are not included in this, since they appear to be the same design. But maybe somebody with a 23.5 CVO can tell me if there is something different about theirs versus the 2024s. So let's talk about what the recall is and what models are affected. The recall is because the voltage output wire rubs against the engine case, and if it rubs enough, it can cause a short, causing the bike to stop running, which if in traffic could result in a crash. So obviously, going down the freeway and the bike dies on you, that's a bad deal. That's what they're talking about here. So what models are affected? 2024 Street Glide, 2024 Street Glide CVO, 24 Road Glide, 24 Road Glide CVO, 24 Road Glide CVO ST. Those are the 5 models. I find it strange that 23.5s are not listed there, since those are the same basic engine, the 121 verbal valve timing, but maybe there was some change to do with the voltage regulator for 2024 or something that would cause those to not be affected. We're going to talk about the number of bikes that are affected. 41,600 and some models are affected at the time of this announcement. So that means they have sold 42,000 touring models in the US year to date at the time of this announcement. I find that interesting on how that relates to sales previous years. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. But first, I want you to know that the recall number is 0186. I'll try to put a link to it in the description down below. If you have one of these 2024 models, get a hold of the dealership. Letters are going to be mailed out. Get on the NHTSA website and see by VIN lookup if your model is affected. Go into Harley Davidson. They're going to inspect the wire. If they find damage, they're going to repair it, and they're going to install a secondary retention strap. Now, what that looks like, I don't know. It may be something as simple as a zip tie and a little holder to hold the wire away from the case where it's rubbing and causing this problem. Now let's talk about the numbers. 42,000 units, we're going to say, in the US touring models are affected. That does not include the limiteds and the trikes, which are lumped into the touring category when Harley Davidson reports shipment numbers. Now, last year, they shipped about 2/3 of their units to the US. These numbers we have, this 42,000, is only for the US. So if that's 2/3, if that holds true, if sales are maintaining about the same share level between US markets and foreign markets, then that would mean about 63,000 units to date of these models, not counting limiteds and trikes. Last year, at the end of the third quarter, there was around 76,000 units sold across the entire touring line. Harley Davidson won't tell us how many street glides versus trikes versus road glides, etc. We just get one big lump number for that family of bikes. So that would mean if we have 63,000 to date, maybe 64,000, we're almost into the quarter. It's hard to say exactly where that number is going to be. But if it was 64,000, so they would have to sell about 12,000 trikes and limiteds on top of the 64,000 units or something that they have to get around 76,000 units to be similar to what they were last year. Now, I think realistically, 12,000 trikes and limiteds is probably a low number. They probably are going to sell more than the 76,000 they had sold year to date last year. That's going to be my prediction. We'll know in October when the third quarter report comes out. We'll know exactly what sales are. And why I think this is interesting is because ever since August, there's been a lot of people on the internet screaming, boycott Harley Davidson, boycott Harley Davidson. I think most of those people are not people who were going to buy a motorcycle anyway, or maybe not even are motorcyclists. They're just on the political bandwagon. This is an election year. They're all up in arms over the DEI videos that were put out and things like that. And so the fact is, I see no signs of a boycott. Here's my evidence. Okay, Black Hills Harley Davidson during the Sturgis rally had almost a record year. I think it was like their third best year since the rally started. So they had nearly record sales at Black Hills Harley Davidson. Okay, Bike Fest. We just went to that 2 weeks ago. I talked to the dealership. They sold more bikes on Wednesday and Thursday than they sold in the previous year. That's what I was told by someone who is close to the dealership. The dealership did confirm to me that bike sales were up and that they were really strong at the beginning of the weekend. So bike sales at Lake of the Ozarks Bike Fest was up. I just talked to the general manager from Pig Trail via text on Sunday after the rally was over, because we talked about this when I was at Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue last weekend, and he said sales were doing good. Bike sales up like 30%. You know, last year they had some issues. Weather wasn't great. Bike sales didn't do as good last year. They're up 30% from that over last year. So I don't know for sure what that means, but I don't see any sign of a boycott. And I don't see anybody that I know that was looking to buy a new model, putting it up for sale because they're mad at Harley Davidson, or saying, I'm not going to buy one because I don't agree with their political policies. Now, Harley Davidson's already stepped back from the DEI thing. The fact is, left-wing organizations have put out stuff saying, what's the difference? They were terrible at DEI to begin with, and they didn't do this and they didn't do that. Fact is, they're not going to please everybody no matter what. You're going to have people on both sides of the fence criticizing them. I think personally that a lot of this stuff was sensationalized for political reasons. That's my personal opinion. Either way, I'm not selling my Harley Davidson, and it's not going to stop me from buying one. What's stopping me from buying one right now is personal finances and the economy. I got some other things I got to take care of first before we can buy a bike. That may or may not happen soon. We just have to see. It's month by month right now. Anyway, I wanted to give you all a shout out. Make sure you know about this recall. If you have one of these models, you know what to do. And I want to know what you guys think about the whole boycott and the sales thing. Do you know people who have refused to go buy a new bike that were planning on it because of this call for a boycott? And, you know, I mean, this recall is a pretty minor thing. It's nothing to get too excited about. I've seen lots of this kinds of stuff. Everybody has recalls, Indian, Honda. It happens. Some are more severe than others. Luckily, this is actually a pretty minor thing, but it's something you can check for yourself. Get the bike into the dealership, get it fixed, go on your way, keep riding. And you guys know what I say. Keep on riding, stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one.